Please excuse my own timer because I will talk for the full hour, and I have 3 key points that I want to get across, and I know if I don't, pace myself, I'm not going to get to it. So first, this is such a tremendous turnout for the return of the self-publishing roundtable. This is amazing. Thank you for, and I mentioned about, I got my timers, you can just ignore that. And then the other thing I do want to mention before I really get into my insights is regulars of this branch will might recognize me. I work here. So from you're used to seeing me behind a different table, the circulation desk out front. And I just wanted to, so if anyone's out there thinking, like, who does he know that he got to be on the panel? I know everyone because I work here. And I make that joke, but I do bring up for a couple of reasons. Even though I am a Cuyahoga County Public Library employee, everything I'm sharing tonight, my insights and my opinions are my own and do not reflect any CCPL or any other group or program, group, organization I am affiliated with. All right. And so, the other reason I want to note that is because before I worked here at South Euclid, I spent 4+ years paging at the Beechwood branch of CCPL. And as a page at the Beech, I started at Beechwood in May of 2017. I graduated from across the street at Notre Dame College in May of 2009. Between 2009 and 2017, I struggled as a freelance writer, but I did end up self-publishing 2 books just in ebook format, and I will get more into how I ended up with paperbacks books in a little bit and all that. So 4 years. And before that, I would come in 2016, I would come to an event or 2 here at the Writer Center. But as soon as I left, I would completely forget this place existed. So my job at Beechwood, having to commute past this library, is what reminded me. And by the summer of 2018, I had become a regular of the Writer Center. And I would come to the AM writing program that Lori was talking about at the beginning, as well as the self-publishing roundtable here. And at one of the self-publishing roundtables, I don't remember the author's name or anything, but I do remember he posed a question to us in the audience, and his question was, what do you hope to accomplish with your book? And I'm using that to transition into my first key point I wanted to get across today. And it's basically rewording what that author asked. And it's define what success looks like for your book. My first book, Off Balance, is a teenage memoir about growing up with neurological disability, cerebral palsy. And the book covers my emotional journey from embarrassment about having a disability and being different to embracing it as a part of who I am. My goal when I wrote Off Balance was to encourage current teenagers who have cerebral palsy or another disability to feel less alone. And based on the feedback I've received, I've succeeded at that and then some. Slow and Cerebral is my most recent release, just coming out at the end of April. Slow and Cerebral is also a memoir. This is a memoir about accomplishing the unreasonable. And for me, that was not letting my disability stop me from completing a marathon. Yes, I walked 26.2 miles in a row.
Yeah.
It only took my official time from the first time I did it, 11 hours, 40 minutes, and 31 seconds. And getting to the point where I would Solar Cerebral just recently came out. The Writer Center had me all, armed with the knowledge to be able to get this book in a paperback form right away. Not the same thing with Off Balance. As Lori talked about, and this is about to get into my second point. My second point is, the key point is, teamwork makes the dream work. Or be a team player. And you might be looking at me, but what the heck is he talking about? What team? And when I say team, there is two different meanings. I'm talking about being a team player and adding value to the writing community, and being a team player and adding value to whoever your target audience is. Where's that niche? And I will give an example of both, although it was kind of already given for me, as we've already talked about am writing. And I will share just a minute of my experience with am writing. One of the things that really helped me was coming and being a part of the group and getting to learn from others. And that, especially Abby. The reason I didn't get Off Balance published as a paperback right away wasn't because, physical books are so archaic, who reads those? No, it was because I was so overwhelmed by the process. I didn't know how to format a book. I didn't know, I thought I would need a program like InDesign to format it. I had, it'd be one thing to create a front cover, get it stuck up on upload it to Kindle Direct Publishing, which is who I use for publishing my books. And so you get that uploaded to Kindle Direct Publishing, but to know how to have a front cover, a back cover, how much space to leave for the spine, that was just so overwhelming. So it was coming to Am Writing for basically 2 years. Am Writing started in the summer of 2018, and we were still going strong into March 2020 when COVID shut life down. And just coming and getting to learn from Abby and, others in the group. Rose would always give me feedback to help me, keep in mind of what I was going to write in slow and cerebral. It was something I kept in my mind. And so just coming and getting to learn and being a part of that was what led me to be able to have paperback copies of books. Then, to give an example as far as target audience for a reader, for your readers, naturally with my books I write, the memoirs I write, one of my target audience is going to be the cerebral palsy community. And a part of the way I am a team player and show value to the cerebral palsy community is, for 8.5 years, I have co-hosted on Wednesday night a cerebral palsy Twitter chat that uses the hashtag CPChatNow. And just, from being that and making connections with others in the cerebral palsy community, guess what? When it was time to get Sloan Cerebral released, it was just, it's like people were eager and anticipating the release of my book and were ready to go to Amazon and buy it right away. And so, adding value to your team, whether that is the writing community or your target audience, is being, teamwork makes the dream work. my friend James, who is recording this for me, don't worry, none of your faces will be in there. So, James is the one who actually did the marathon with me, and he's the really helped to make this possible. He believed in myself before I fully believed I'd be able to do it. And I could talk my last 5 minutes about James, but that's not what we're here for. Anyways, the reason I bring this, calling my attention to James, is because he's has his own YouTube channel and does a series called IBB Top 3. And so my keys so far have been very, very familiar to him. Teamwork makes the dream work. Define what success looks like to you. Because those were my keys to success when I did his IBB Top 3 video. And so, if anyone here has read Slow and Cerebral and read through to the end, wow, already, that's impressive. And you can join me and James as we say what my third key point is. Don't blend in.
Blend out.
Yes. And what I mean by that is find what gives you a unique voice. Before I talked about when I worked at Beechwood, and I had 2 self-published books. And Off Balance is in paperback. It obviously wasn't Slow and Cerebral because I just released that in April. My third book, in the middle book, was titled Rock Realities, and it was a compilation of articles I had written based off interviews with different independent musicians going to define what success is. I was hoping to help aspiring musicians prepare for what the indie music scene. Rock Realities was a massive failure, and that might be an understatement. I released that in December of 2015. I checked my Kindle sales yesterday. I think it sold 6 copies. So, the Kindle, and I just know in time I kind of realized, and James helped me realize this too, is the reason why was because I had nothing unique that, really as an interviewer that really would help me stand out, which is when I say blend out, that's what I mean stand out. Help me stand out in the music thing. My, Rock Realities just kind of blended in with all the other digital music content out there. Obviously, that's not the case with Slow and Cerebral and Off Balance. Just having cerebral palsy, having that unique story gave my book value, and it's that. So you get my point. A really quick story to illustrate that would be with Off Balance. One of my beta readers for when I had completed the first draft of what would eventually become Off Balance gave me the feedback that the book read like a narrated medical history, which, I read in between the lines. It wasn't good. It sucked. And so I pretty much scraped all but 3 pages and rewrote Off Balance. And that, prior, it was just about, me rambling about my experiences from since I was birth to I was 21 or 22 or 23 when I wrote it. So, rambling. And that's where the teen focus of just focusing, because there are other cerebral palsy memoirs out there, but no other ones that really focused on the teen years. Teen years are very formative to who we become, so I thought it was important to get it out there. And I am out of time, and I look forward to answering questions during the Q&A. Thank you all.
Woo!